For people listening, I want to be clear here. Shelly and the other one, they are not real people. Christina,
Christina.
these are robots that he is training to do to these
Look,
tasks.
This is what I've been building for, like, so this is gonna crush the real estate coming. I've been building the software that's gonna change the game for investors. Like, I'm gonna call Christina right now.
Hello, this is Christina speaking. How can I help?
Hey, Christina. Yes, I got a letter in my mail. I want to sell my property.
Yes, we send those because we're buying homes in your area. Do you happen to own a property you might consider selling?
Yes, I want to sell my property at 123 Main Street.
Got it. Thanks for that. And just so I know who I'm speaking with, what's your name? And can you spell it for me?
My name is Tony. I'm here with my partner, Jason.
Perfect. Thanks, Tony. And Jason's there with you as well. Cool. Just to make sure I get things right, could you let me know both your last names?
So
This is crazy, man.
This is nutty.
Welcome to Burning the Chips podcast, and I'm your host, Jason Seward. And today we got my man, Antonio Edwards, coming from the west coast of LA. So how you doing, my man?
I'm great, Jason. Thanks for having me on. Burning the Chips.
Yeah.
I love this, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm excited, man. We're going to get into your story and all that good stuff after I turn it over to my man, JJ, for JJ's Joke of the Week. Take it away, buddy.
What do you call cheese that isn't yours? Nacho cheese.
All right, JJ. Appreciate you, man. Antonio, we've been connected for, I don't know, a year or so now through just doing some real estate stuff together. And I reached out to you, I don't know, a month or so ago and asked you to come on, and we got you here. So these are my favorite episodes. And I was telling you before we started recording, I love getting people on here where I'm hearing their story for the first time with my audience, right? So I don't know much of your background, much of your story. I know you're a 757 boy, so we're going to talk about that. But now you're out in LA. You got a lot of good stuff going on, so we're going to talk about all that, your family, your mindset, and all that, everything in between. So before we get going, I'm just going to turn it over to you, my man, and let you introduce yourself and what all you got going on, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. For people that don't know who I am, I'm from Virginia, like Jason said, born and raised born in Norfolk, raised predominantly my life in Virginia Beach, which is, all we call it the 7 cities, 757. There's 7 main cities that we like. And, I've been starting in real estate. Let me backtrack a little bit more. I come from the music business. So I came in the music business, and just banging out tracks, banging out beats in and out the studio, getting 4 hours, 3 hours, like literal 3 to 4 hours of sleep a day.
So was this back in high school you were doing this?
Back in high school into my adulthood.
Okay.
I had a son. I had a son in high school. Coming out of high school, my senior year, I had a boy. He's 24 now, so people would probably do the numbers. But I always wanted to be that next Pharrell, that next Timbaland coming out of 757. And I truly believe I would have got there, honestly. But I'm a man of the guy above, so I feel like God steered me into another direction, which is real estate. And so fast forward to when I was 23, my mom gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Everybody probably read this book at this day and age, right?
Yep.
I never read a book cover to cover, Jason, in my entire life, ever. I hated books. I hated books. Back then, there was no podcast like yours to listen to where that could be your book, but it was like something about that book. I was like, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I actually read it. And guess what, Jason? My mom never read the book. She was like, here, son, something told me to give you this book. Which was even to this day, it was the most random thing my mom ever gave me.
Yeah.
That wasn't like her, but it was the most biggest blessing was that book. So I read the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, when I was 23, and it opened me up to real estate. Before that book, I made this whole story about real estate. You need to be rich. You need to be wealthy. You need perfect credit. It wasn't for me, especially for the background I come from. And I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And once you unlock your brain to anything, positive or negative, you're going to start seeing those things in that rent. So now, all of a sudden, I go to my first workshop ever, this Rich Dad Poor Dad workshop. I heard a commercial on the radio. They had a workshop. So now I'm easing into this real estate thing and just naturally easing into it. That same week, Jason, I meet a guy. You might know him. A guy named, shout out to my guy, Chris Haskins. That's a local Hampton Roads guy. I met him in early 2009. He had a We Buy Houses truck, a green Cherokee truck, had We Buy Houses wrapped on it. So I go from reading this book to going to this Rich Dad Poor Dad book, Robert Kiyosaki. They going to a Robert Kiyosaki workshop. That same week, I meet Chris Haskins. And I happen to stop. This is a guy, producer, music studio, and I'm just randomly stopping the guy to like with the We Buy Houses truck. That was just not in my room at like a whole month prior to this.
Right.
And I was like, hey, I said, hey man, and he was in the neighborhood, so he was like driving like 15 miles per hour, and I flagged. I was like, hey man, like you buy houses, and I'm just kind of going off what they talked me to in a workshop. Right, though. He's like, yeah, gave me his card. He said, hey, I buy 3 to 5 houses a month. Meet family house, let me know. And he had this big, like, it was like a postcard, you know, and had his number on it. It was his cell number. The same number that was on his card was on his Cherokee truck. I was like, okay. And I had it. I took it in the studio. I had it there for like a day or two, looking at it. I said, let me call this dude. So I called him. I was like, hey, man, like I want to take you to Starbucks or some lunch or something, get some coffee. I want to pick your brain. He's like, yeah, let's do it. JC came there, man. This is what really blew my mind. He came there with a $40,000 check. He just closed. And he showed me, he's like, man, I just did this with no money, no credit. So I wholesaled the house. And I'm like, wholesale? I'm like, how do you, like, from when you don't know that world, you're like, no money, no credit, $40,000. I'm just trying to wrap this around my brain. I'm in the studio trying to sell a beat for $100.
Right.
Trying to keep my lights on, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, you know what? You remind me of myself, Antonio. He said, I come from the music game too. And at the time, Chris was in the real estate business at that time, already 5 years. So I was like, I just felt there was just perfect alignment, perfect time. I was like, dude, like, let me know what I need to do. And I remember him telling me, he said, Antonio, like, I'm going to tell you what I know. It's going to be virtually impossible to do what you're doing in the studio and want to do this too. Because you're going to be in the field with me, but you're also going to need to be in the studio, which I understood that later on because I was missing so much like the studio sessions because I was keeping my lights on, Jason. Like I was selling beats for $100, $200-$300, but I was charging for artists to come into my studio for like $50 an hour. And I was missing all of that, just to be in the field with this guy. Like my first month with him, I put out 100 banner signs by myself, got my first deal. This was back when banner signs was working to find deals. I found my first deal, putting out 100 banner signs. I used my credit card because I barely had any money. I locked that property up, and it was a crackhead house. 721 Potter Road, Chesapeake, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
We walk into this property, and I have no clue. What's like how this thing pans out. Right, I'm walking in there with Chris. I called Chris as soon as I was like, I think I gotta leave, man.
Yeah.
And we walk into this house, and it was one sober brother that had power of attorney, and he had 4 crackhead brothers living in Potter Road in this house. Just junk everywhere, no power, shit in the toilet. It was crazy. A leak in the ceiling. It was just, I never seen nothing like it. Like far as like who lives genuinely in these type of properties. And then I remember me walking in. I was like, who buys this? Like I was talking to Chris. He's like, I smell money. He was like,
I love it.
I smell money. And I was like, in my brain, I'm like, who want to buy this? That was just my mindset. I'm like, who want to buy this shit? And I remember the backyard. We go into the backyard with the sober brother who did not live there though, but he had the power of attorney to the house. We owned this couple of tree stumps in the backyard, and we're just selling the contract. Got it locked up for like $48,000. In my brain, I really didn't have much belief. I mean, I was just like, damn, who would I buy this? Like, It just didn't register. Soon as we get into the truck, Chris calls a buyer. He told him like 60. I think he told him like 60,500 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We locked up for 48. And I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, but that's 12.5. Like, I'm just thinking like my brain, that's 12.5. All right. But I'm like, okay, like, I'm going to stay humble. Like, I'm just going to stay neutral because I don't know. Like, 12.5 to me sounded like a reach. But where I come from, that sounded like a reach. Next thing I know, man, 3 hours later, he said he'll buy it. He just drove by it. He didn't go into the house. He just drove by and said, I'll take it. And my first deal ended up being 12.5. First year, I did 26 flips. My second deal was a rehab out of those 26. So my second deal out of I did 26 flips. Second deal was a rehab. That second deal, I learned land trust. I learned subject to.
Man, you're getting into all the good stuff on your second deal.
I learned second because I had to go borrow private money. I learned private money, and I learned how to do a second, borrow private money in a second. All in my second deal. First deal was 12.5. Second deal was all of that. But I didn't make that much. Only make $3,000 profit.
Right.
But I learned all of that in my second deal on a rehab. And it was all, shout out to Chris. He paved the way for me, man. He let me in the door, and I felt like it was pretty. I didn't realize at the time, but when I look back, I was like, I learned so much just in my few months.
I wanna come back to the power of mentorship and stuff like that. I'm glad you brought up. And do you keep in touch with Chris still?
I haven't talked to Kristen in several years, man. I need to touch base.
I'm actually 2 weeks from now. I'm going to his house. We're recording a podcast, and he's going to do something with me on his YouTube channel. So I'm just getting to know Chris here in the last month or so. But seems like a incredible, like, he just seems like a, you meet these people and you know that like their main motivation is just to serve, like to help people. Like he's at that point where dude's he barely knows me, and he's opening his house to me to come in and record some stuff like that. So he's a good dude, man. I can tell. So, well, that's awesome. So where does it go from there? Where you start, you're hooked. Now you're addicted to it. Yeah. I would imagine. Yeah.
I threw the towel in music. Wasn't doing music. Yeah. I think after my second deal, I completely, after that rehab, because I was literally like, so that rehab, and I did mention that I didn't make that much money on it. I made $3,000. Like, it was projected to make like 40 grand.
Yeah.
And he or she that does rehab understand this. Like, especially the first one, even if you're 1,000 rehab, like, it never goes to plan.
Nope.
I went into this thing, I made 12.5. So now I'm on a high. I'm like, I want to do a rehab. I want to keep this one. And I remember, like, I could have wholesaled it, made 5, which is, it's a base hit deal, and got in and out in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Me, I wanted to stay in the deal. I just saw 40 grand.
Yeah.
And I was literally managing that deal myself because Chris was, at the time, he used to go out of state where now his wife, at the time, I think it was his fiance, like, he used to go to like another state to see her. So he'd be there for weeks at a time while I'm literally at this rehab myself, checking contractors. I may FaceTime him every now and then, but I was missing so much, However, I'm glad I did stay in I'm glad I did make the choice to do that rehab and only make $3,000 because I learned the land trust. I learned subject to. I learned raising private money, which my grandma was my private money lender on the site. I learned those strategies in exchange, and I still made $3,000. So
yeah,
I got paid to educate myself and to.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, that's it, man. And so where, like, at that point, that's your second deal, and you're getting this. That. You just covered all the hot topics, like, right, all the hot things, subject to, second position, all these things that a lot of people they still don't know how all that stuff works, and they've been in real estate for years, but you're getting that quick education through action. At that point, were you motivated, like, all right, this is going to be what I do, this is my career, I'm going to be an entrepreneur in real estate, and it was game on, or did you have some hurdles to get around from that point?
No, it was game on, bro. It was
Okay.
a good run. I mean, because I was during that, during that rehab phase, and I don't, we can move forward, but during that rehab phase, I was wholesaling. I was still wholesaling.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
10K, and I was wholesaling off the MLS back in those times.
Yeah.
As a new wholesaler, you had of the guys that lost their shit in the bus. You had the new landlords and new flippers coming in. There were new. I was the new wholesaler overall wholesaler, but you had the new buy and hold, the new flippers. So I was on the MLS getting a property, just saying Hamburg Rose for 80K, and it was listed for 80K. Sell it to a buy and hold guy for 100K or 95K. Didn't even bark at it because it still worked.
Right. Yeah.
That's literally impossible now. I mean, you can't do that now, but
right.
We was in a recession. Like the world was literally on sale, and the guys that were new buyers at the time, they were, I mean, if these some of my buyers I still know, they still own these properties today, Jason. Like they're well off. You know, they're well off. And I remember, I'm not gonna name who you. You know what? Shout out to Patty Robinson. I remember Patty. Y'all know if you know Patty Robinson. Shout out
I don't.
Robinson. Home. She used to be with Home Guys. But anyway, I don't know, like 2011. I had this property in Craddock. And anybody who doesn't know, Craddock is basically a subdivision in Virginia that we buy in, right? I had it for 19K, man. Turnkey, Jason, turnkey.
Wow.
I sold it. This was 2000. No, this is 2010. I sold it to Patty for 25K. And I remember, like, she didn't bargain. Of course, she's gonna say yes to it, right? And I remember this is back when picking up checks were cool. Like maybe some people had pick up checks, but I used to go to pick up my check, right?
Right.
She was walking out from the closing to buy the property, right? Or something like, or maybe she bought. It was something like anyway. She was coming out. I was going in. It's like, Antonio, though, thank you so much for the deal. She's like, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm almost teared up that you only sold it for 25K. Like you should have kept that, or you could have got way more, but then you more. Like it was, and that big.
Yeah.
That registered. Like I easily could have got like 70K for it, 60K.
So that was a little bit of a light bulb for you at that point.
That was a light bulb to start keeping properties.
Okay.
That start keeping them, and I didn't get my first keep until early 2012.
Okay.
And that's when I started keeping properties. Bought it, still own it to this day. Paid 12K for it.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, in Newport News. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I rented it out. And my next one was 25K, 20K. This is back when those prices were like just nuts. Just nuts.
Yeah.
And then I got put onto this strategy called slow flipping. Shout out to my guy Scott Jelinek. I met him like early 2010 maybe, and he was a guy that he got hit in the bus, but he was reinventing himself, and he was doing just like a lot of other people. People been doing Burr before Burr was called Burr.
Yep.
That's just a coined name, but people been refinancing and taking juice out of the watermelon and over leveraging, or maybe not over leveraging, but back then people were over leveraging.
Yeah, Brandon Turner put a name to it. So
yeah, like with slow flip,
right.
Like slow flip is just a coin word for instead of you buy a property instead of renting it out, we sell them on owner financing on 30-year land contracts. So slow flip is a coin word for basically selling your property on owner financing. But yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm doing this slow flip thing. And he was like, whenever the market crashes again, whenever we get a reset, like whenever we get this again, it's going to happen. He said, it's going to be good. Like I've been through this. I've been through that. I reinvented myself. I'm doing this slow flip strategy, which is a recession-proof model. And basically, you're basically buying affordable housing. I mean, at the time, it was 30K and below.
Yeah.
30, like easy, like 30K and below. I don't know if you remember, Jason, but in downtown Newport News, I remember people hated that market.
Yeah.
Damn near everybody buys in that not market, but in that subdivision neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, a lot of investors buy there now. We've been buying in that area. Like I've been, my 12K property that I talked about was in downtown Newport News.
Right.
And by the way, I couldn't wholesale it, so I kept it.
Yeah.
And it has a buildable lot with it.
Did you ever do anything with the lot?
No, I still have it.
Okay.
Okay.
When you gonna build something on it?
Well, I have to subdivide it, but it's a house,
Yeah.
another lot with it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Couple still stay there. They pay me $700 a month. I rented it out traditionally to them in 2012, and in 2013, I converted them over to a slow flip.
Okay.
Haven't heard from them since. They still stay there. They still pay the same $700. I mean, I just see the $700, and that's all I care about.
Right. That's perfect. That's perfect.
No leaky toilet calls with the slow flip model. None of that. So that's why I love this model, because it's low maintenance. I live in LA. I can be, myself and laws of my clients, my students, we're able to buy these affordable markets without physically being there to see the property, because we're just buying the property, make sure, our own acquisition, make sure it's just decent shape. We're not doing repairs. We're selling it. The day we close on it, we're selling it on a 30-year land contract, where that resident that's going to move into the property is their home. They're treated like their home. And that's why I love this model, because I do not like the landlord role.
Right.
I don't know anybody that say I love being a landlord.
We own a ton of rentals, and I don't like a single one. I mean, I like the appreciation. I like the wealth building, and we have property managers, and it still sucks being a landlord. It's
Man.
Yep.
Like, if your tenants call you or your property management, they're not calling and say, "Hey, Jason, let's call and see how you're doing, how you and your family's doing." Then it's not.
No.
They call because they want something. Something's wrong with that house.
Right. And anybody, I had the big vision early on when I was, buying rentals, and you talked to my partner, Bill, but we went on like a 5-year run where we were just using the BRRRR strategy, just loading up on rental property while we were working our corporate jobs. But I had this vision of, all right, this is going to retire me, early, and because they're all going to cash flow, and it's just everyone I add is more cash flow. It don't work like that. Like there's always a heat pump needing replaced, a new roof, some kind of water leak, something happening all the time that eats up that cash flow. It is certainly a good wealth building tool. Like our rental portfolio, I mean, we got a lot of equity in it where, and it's the tenants are paying down the principal. Everything is great there, but it is not going to pay the bills. It is not going to pay the bills day to day. You got to have some kind of fast money, so that I shifted gears and mindset on that pretty quickly as we got into it.
I'm glad you spoke on that, Jason, because there's a lot of investors, you can't tell them that. Like, they don't hear that. But you're right. Like, it's a slow slug wealth builder.
Yep.
Yeah. And while that's building on the wealth side, you better have some active, fast, quick.
Yep.
Whether it's crypto, stocks, you can get into AI, because AI is crushing things right now in an amazing way. But you still have this. Let this sit for 20 years, like whatever, 10 years. I say minimum 10 years, if not 20.
Yeah.
But within that 10 to 20 years, what are you doing to get your? And it's funny, like, not funny, but interesting. I really think your first million should not be be rentals. Your first million need to be somewhere else, because I don't think you're like this is not 2005 anymore. Like, buying and holding, trying to make your first million, that is so dinosaur. And I'm just gonna be real for people that's sucking this. Like, if you're trying to make your first million with rentals, you're just gonna like get burnt.
Well, you can make it. You can build your net worth up to that, like through equity, but equity's not paying the light bill, right? Equity's not putting groceries on the table.
It's not.
That's so you're exactly right. And we, again, I was one of the naive ones in the beginning when we started buying, like, this is gonna retire me.
Yeah.
Now, I had my active income of my corporate job, which was very good income, but at the same time, like, I'm trying to build something that, in my mind early on, like, I can figure this out. This can replace that income. It doesn't work that way. It just does not work that way. So you're exactly right.
And to my point there, this is why we like slow flips, because this is the faster paced wealth builder. Like, with the slow flip model, like, I remember, like I said earlier, in Virginia, like, my early times when I was buying slow flips in Virginia was buying 30K and below. Now we went to 50K. Now we're in the Midwest, and even buying Alabama, where I can still buy it. I just closed on a 35K property last week in Midwest in Illinois. Paid $35K, completely turnkey. Like this is what an investor would call, that's a cute house. Because it is a cute, it's like it was little 2-1, clean carpet, paint, nice backyard for $35K. I just got an offer today because I'll send that when I close on it. We send it to the marketing team. Base all their role is to just to find a resident to fill it. Got an offer today. Let me see. Look at it. I got 3K down. Let me see what we got for this. Can you see me still?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay. So I told him, I said, let's start with 79, 3K, 995 a month. So we got 79,000 total. Man, I paid 35K for it. I got 3K down and 940 a month for a property I paid 35K for. Never seen that person. Not going to do any work, even though it was a cute house and it's turnkey. Even the carpet was dirty. I would have still got that same 930.
Can we do? I'm going off the fly here because a lot of people are hearing this. They're hearing slow flip. And do you mind use round numbers to make it easy and walk us through the listeners through start to finish how this looks at a high level? I know it gets nuanced and stuff like that, but like tactically go through what a deal like this would look like.
From like the time I buy it to the time
yeah. So you find a property for 35 grand. Go like where does it like? What is the process of you're going to fund it? So whether it's your own capital or other people's money, you're then going to sell it essentially. But it's on you're holding the lien.
Yep.
And so walk us through that process because I mean I know the strategy is fantastic, but a lot of people hear it and the reason I'm asking you to do this, Antonio, is because I recorded a podcast yesterday, and the person I was talking to, we got onto the topic of everybody throws these terms out in the real estate world, and a lot of people hear them, but they're intimidated by them, and they're scared to ask for more detail because they feel like they should know how it works. So if you could just break down an example for me, I think that'd be really valuable. So
okay, so people just watching this, we all know BRRRR strategy. BRRRR was just a coin word before it became BRRRR. Like all investors have been doing BRRRRs since the 90s, 80s, whatever the case may be. It's just you buy a property, you renovate it, you just go refinance and take your money out for long-term financing. Slow flip's been around before I was born. It's just a coin word that we put on the marketing side, where basically it's just you're finding a property, right? And once you find a property, your intent is to buy and hold it. We all know the buy and hold. You do a traditional rental, right? You put a tenant in there, they sign a lease. With this strategy, you're buying and holding instead of renting it out traditionally. We just sell that property on 30 years of owner financing. So when I sell that property, so if I buy a property, let's go back to this property. I paid $35K for it, right? Closed on it last week, $35K, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I found the property on the MLS listed for $59,900. It was on the MLS for like 60 days or something like a little over 60 days. I threw an offer for $30K. Okay. I thought, okay, I was like, this is sitting predominantly, this probably not fitting for a landlord. But if I can get this for $30K, this is going to be a steal.
Yeah.
They counter back. The agent's like, well, the sellers take or leave it. They're $35K.
Okay.
I would take it. Like,
right.
I seen pictures on the MLS. And this is the beauty of slow flips, by the way. So I closed on it, paid $35K. Last week, I sent it to my marketing team. If you don't have a marketing team, that's okay. All the marketing team is doing it because I'm a lazy investor. They're putting the property on the Facebook marketplace, or sometimes they will pay they'll hire somebody to in that local market, because we do have boots on the ground for that market, to put banner signs out. Owner financing, $3K down, no banks needed, something like that. And if you're in a local market, I'm telling you this. Like, finding sellers with banner signs don't work as much, but finding buyers still works like a charm,
Yep.
especially when you're selling properties this way. But anyway, I sent the property to my marketing team. I gave them projection what I wanted. And usually, in our case, our slow for strategy, you're usually getting between 69 to 79 plus interest over time.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them $995 a month, $3K down. They came back to me. They said, okay, we found someone basically a week later that has a $3K down that's willing to do the 79.9, and they're going to do, they want to do $940 a month. I didn't bark on it. I could have been have a little greed and a little ego and say, no, let's crown it back at $975. I'm not going to, $940, I paid $35K for the property.
Right.
$940, I don't even have to calculate that. But it's still calculated.
Right.
Attack the pro. So how it works is, we'll get the property taxes and insurance in a minute, but how it works is we'll draw up, instead of a lease, we'll draw up something called an agreement for deed, or some people call it an installment agreement. All it is just a switch up of an agreement, which changes the whole dynamic from a rental to where I got to be a landlord and take care of the repairs of the property and get these leak and toilet calls, to an agreement for deed. I'm selling this owner financing agreement where is that residence property, they control it like their property.
Yep.
The reason why I like this also the reason why I like this method is because I still hold the deed. So when you go on public record, I'm still technically the owner on the public record because I control the deed.
Yep.
With the agreement for deed or snowflake model, that resident doesn't get the deed until 30 years or when they pay off the property in full.
Right.
Meaning, if they default, I don't have to foreclose on them. I could still evict them like a tenant because I could control of the deed, which is beautiful for the worst case scenario. So we draw up an agreement for deed, and all it is what Ron LeGrand used to always tell me way back in the day, is just black ink on a white paper. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. It's not hard. It's just black ink on white paper.
Yep.
It's just another agreement. Everybody knows what a lease is. It's just a different agreement that switches the dynamic, that has the terms 79.9. Resident puts $3K down. It has my name on it as the we put party 1 is me, party 2 is the resident's name, obviously the address, and then the interest rate. So if it's 79.9 and they put $3K down, that means their balance is 76.9. So now I'm gonna pull out, I'll go with, or my marketing team do it, or if you could do it yourself. I use the letter E, the letter Z, easy calculators, to find the amortization of that. So I need to find, 30 years, 76.9, they're paying me $940 a month. What's the interest rate? I don't know off top, but just saying the interest rate was 12.9%.
Right.
That would be in the agreement for deed, spelled out. Right? I sign that via DocuSign. The resident signs that via DocuSign. They send the $3K. I get that non-refundable, right? And they get themselves the house.
Yep.
It's literally...
I'm gonna pause you for a second, because there's a couple key things I want to point out what you're doing. So some people may hear this strategy and they, 12.9%, that, that's too much or whatever. You're giving somebody an opportunity to buy a house, have ownership in a house, feel pride of ownership, where otherwise they may not have qualified, maybe due to a history of bad credit or something like that.
100%.
You're providing them an opportunity. And sometimes this doesn't mean that they're not financially responsible people. It could be, It could be a business owner that just does a lot of cash business, and it's just not, they're not bankable, but this makes sense for them, and it gives them ownership in the house. So that's number one. This is a good opportunity. You're providing an opportunity for somebody to own a home that otherwise could not. So this is a good service. Number two, this goes to the returns on this. You bought this house for $35,000.
Yep.
They're paying $940 a month.
Yep.
You're going to collect almost $12,000 in that first every year. You're going to collect that. So the return on that alone, you've already gotten $3,000 down, but on that alone is a incredible return, right? Do the math on it. It's a big return.
Right.
On top of that, let's say this person that buys it, they come on hard times or whatever the case may be, and they can't carry this anymore. And you have to take this property back over. You rinse, you repeat, you do it again. And Right. So this model, we've never done it. It's just we've never done it. I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah.
Just talking about it and kind of working through the numbers with you, I've got goosebumps thinking about like, all right, this might be something. I chase too many rabbits as it is, so the last thing I need to do is chase another one. But I love this strategy. I love it.
I do want to say, it's a great strategy. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you win when you become the bank.
Yeah.
Jason, you and Bill are the bank. That's the number one part. What you guys are doing is funding and lending, being private money lenders. That's the bank.
Yep.
The second best thing is kind of what the slow flip model is we're still the bank by selling owner finance.
You are. And
you're in the perfect position as you being a lender. Like, that's the next step for me. I just want to be a lender. I just want to, like I said, lazy investor. Just fund the deal. You do the work.
Yeah, but I mean, even the way you're doing it, I mean, I would imagine you have a loan service company you work with that kind of services the loan, collects the payments, stuff like that.
I don't.
You don't. So you all that's in house.
No, we use. Currently I use apartments.com. Apartment. It used to be Cozy, but now has brought them out last 6 or so years. But yeah, I use apartments.com. I have an in-house property manager, which I have her doing a whole nother set of tasks because this is low maintenance. She just goes in from the first to the fifth, see whoever paid. You got to figure too, like these people put to an average person, maybe not to you and I, Jason, or a lot of people watching this, 3,000 is a lot down to most people.
Yep.
That's some skin in the game.
Yeah.
Someone who's working at Best Buy or someone who's, working in a factory or warehouse, single mom or it's a family with a kid, their total income is 40 grand a year. I mean, 3,000 is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
They're coming in on day one with skin in the game. And for the most part, they're going in and putting repairs to these houses.
Yeah. Yep. No, I love it, man. And I want to move on to a couple other topics. So I know you got a hard stop, but I encourage everybody. So let's kind of segue now. If you want to give kind of a rundown of your coaching program where you teach this stuff, you have a community and a group that you dive into. I mentioned earlier, we just went through it real fast at a high level. It kind of is that easy, but there are a lot of nuances involved. So if anybody's like wants more info, I want you to have an opportunity to kind of pitch what your coaching program and stuff like that is, if you don't mind.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's really not a coaching program. This is more of like a service. I'm actually bringing my clients and my students a cash flow and asset.
Okay.
Like, and along the way we teach them, as well. But, like you come into the program, Antonio and my team, you get the marketing team, they fill your property. Worst case scenario, this is like dead worst case scenario. What if your resident don't pay 3 years down the line? We'll hook you up to the eviction specialist in each and every one of our markets that we buy in. But the most important thing, like, it's not just teaching it. Like, I'm bringing you a cash flow and asset.
Right.
And I even give you projected numbers. Hey, this is a 50K property. You project to get $1,000 a month or $1,100 a month, 3K down, total 79,000 plus interest over the course of 30 years. And if you use that, they're really paying you like 300K for the house. If you the full bill amortization to look at the 30 years. But that's what people, like, clients come to me for that. And like in my neighborhood, just in my neighborhood, California, I have 11 clients. Just in my neighborhood, 2 streets back, 1 street back, and they repeat. Like, they love it,
Yeah.
And I live in California, so it's like some people think it's fake when they hear 50K and 30K. When their property is more than that, and they had to put $500,000 just on a home, on their primary home. They're like, "Oh, let me just test you with 5 of these real quick,"
Right. But you also mentioned you do this nationwide. So,
I'm in 5 markets. We're in 5 markets where we're buying it. Predominantly right now, we're in Missouri and Illinois, just crushing it. And wherever that runs out, like, I feel like we ran out of properties in Virginia, for that price point. I did buy one in Franklin last week, though.
Did you?
Yeah, and we got to steal on that. Yeah, like I look at the wholesaler's contract. I'm like, I kind of go back to what Patty. I'm like, damn, like, why did I keep that guy?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's your game though. And there's still pockets out here. I mean, I mean, we've moved into the lending space, so we get to see it as a lender. I mean, people are still finding really good deals, all over Virginia.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah.
it's not as, there's been a couple periods, like couple year periods where you could find a deal under every rock. Like it was easy to find a deal. It's not that easy anymore in our markets, but they're still out there. I mean, we have no shortage of loans to make. So I know you got a hard stop here in a little bit, Antonio. So you mentioned you're from my area, Hampton Roads. You went down to Orlando, if I heard you correctly, for a couple years,
Yep.
and now you're in LA. Um, I want you to, we don't have to get into the story of like everything that took you to the next step, but I want you to speak to the power of building a business that you can literally run anywhere in the world, and how much freedom and flexibility that has given you to kind of pick up and move a couple different towns across the country.
Yeah, and we can that's a good segue to what I built this last year and a half that's about to launch. I'm a big person uh of systems, processes and systems. And I know in the real estate, it's more, brick and mortar. A lot of investors are typically hands on. But what I felt like set me apart was me understanding the internet. So let me just go way back a little bit. Like in 2011, I went to my first internet marketing event. You know, well, actually, it was real estate based. I don't know if you ever heard of Freedom Soft, which is
All right.
still out
Yeah.
today. But Preston Ely was the owner of Freedom Soft. I think Rob Swanson brought him out over the years. But shout out to Preston. Like he opened me up to internet and funnels, and automations, and all of that stuff, which is a whole other thing that like a lot of investors don't really understand, which is okay. But once you understand it, it's game over.
Yeah.
So he launched this Freedom Soft SaaS, so this Freedom Soft software back in 2011, and he had this Freedom Soft event, and it was like I thought it was more real estate based, but it ended up being like a internet marketing type event of guys in the real estate space who are building funnels and emails, and that's what I started to learn. Like I said, okay, so I can get I can get like I can just get like a service at the time that you know they're not they may be around, but I was using like eye contact, and I will build sequences to do like email follow-ups. Like you got to figure 2011, that was the man. Like that would do that. Like build a sequence back in 2011 and have like an email drip campaign follow-up to your homeowners.
Yeah.
Like I was crushing deals, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in Trig, which is our local RIA, they gave me like a investor of the year or something like that.
Okay.
And a lot of people didn't know who I was, but a lot of people did. But I remember they was like, how did he do so many deals? I remember it like yesterday. And because that like some of those investors, I was like, just say like you, Jason, like I'll sell you like 10 deals in like 3 or 4 months time. That's a lot of deals.
Mm-hmm.
And another investor, I'll sell like 5 deals, but I was using my systems and processes where a lot of investors were a lot more hands-on.
Yeah.
Fast forward today, and now I use AI.
What's the next thing?
Like I use AI, and I feel like in our space, a lot of investors, not every investor, some investors are on it, but most investors are against it or not on it yet. But if you can integrate AI into your real estate business, you're gonna crush it. And it helps you. It beyond helps you. It makes your job easier. Like I use AI. I have my AIs. I have like my organizational chart is AI employees. Like I have my transaction coordinator is AI. She's AI. Her name is Shelly. My acquisitions girl, her name is Christina. She answers the phone calls. I have someone who's I could like I like right now I can I could text someone right now. She can drop a contract in DocuSign. AI. She could send you a contract.
For people listening, I want to be clear here. Shelly and the other one, they are not real people. Christina.
Christina.
These are robots that he is training to do these
But
tasks.
this is what I've been building for. Like, so this is gonna crush. The real is coming. I've been building a software that's going to change the game for investors. Like, I'm gonna call Christina right now. Come on, pick up, Christina.
Hello, this is Christina speaking. How can I help?
Hey, Christina. Yes, I got a letter in my mail. I want to sell my property.
Yes, we send those because we're buying homes in your area. Do you happen to own a property you might consider selling?
Yes, I want to sell my property at 123 Main Street.
Got it. Thanks for that. And just so I know who I'm speaking with, what's your name? And can you spell it for me?
My name is Tony. I'm here with my partner, Jason.
Perfect. Thanks, Tony. And Jason's there with you as well. Cool. Just to make sure I get things right, could you let me know both your last names?
So
This is crazy, man.
this is nutty. I'm like we fast forward to my system and processes. This is part of I'm all in AI. I've been studying this for 2 years. My last year and a half, I built the software. It's called Deal Closer Pro. So by the time I think you put this out, they can go to dealcloserpro.ai, get on the wait list. I'm telling you, the first week of November this is going to be the next. I feel like the last big thing that disrupted real estate was investor lift for wholesalers for dispo. This is the next thing. You can be able to go in, hire as an investor or a real estate agent, fully trained AI employees in 60 seconds or less. And it's going to chase the leads, follow up. It has its own internal calendar that you can monitor. And whenever it has a hot lead, motivated seller, only leads, only seller, it says, Jason, you got a hot lead, go close it in your CRM inside Deal Closer Pro.
See, man, I know you got a hard stop. I have 3 million questions to ask you. So here, let's do this. When we wrap all this up, I'm going to drop like your socials and the link to this, the dealcloserpro.ai. This will be coming out probably, I think, mid-October, late October at the latest.
Yeah.
What I want to do is, you said this all launches November. Is that correct?
Yes, but when you drop this, they'll be able to go to that page.
Okay.
Get on the early bird list. I'm telling you, you're going to be on cutting edge and this is going to be so easy. On literally, you can go in, name him or her, choose male, female. You have real profile pictures because is an experience of you're hiring someone real, all within 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you can you give it the name. What's your name of your company? Say Burning the Ships LLC. So when you just say your name is Chris, when Chris calls homeowners, when it receives homeowners, is representing Burning the Ships.
Yeah.
It's just Chris. Like we buy 3 to 5 properties. It's fully trained, and you could drop optional SOPs within a second if you want to put fuel on that fire of the AI employee. This is gonna be a pain for your virtual assistant companies out there. Look, you got to worry about sick. You don't have to worry about jumping in because somebody couldn't make it today, or maybe it's a tsunami, whatever. VAs, have to worry about raises,
language barriers. A lot of times that can be an issue. Yeah.
So this what took me the most time with this is because like the voices, we have all types of genres. Like, do you want a professional sounding? Do you want a casual? Do you want a cool sounding? Like it's all, like you could choose all of that. And
it's only going to get better, man. I mean, that was very realistic. You could hear a hint of like pause in there. As this thing develops. It's only there is going to be no way to detect that you're talking to a robot. That is fantastic, man. I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to run this back probably like late November. Let's get you on just to talk about this software again, if you don't mind. I'd love to hear more. And by then it should be, you maybe have a little bit more to share about it. I know you got to go. I've got, like I said, a million questions, but we'll reschedule and kind of dive a little bit deeper into this. And I wanted to talk about your family and all that stuff. We'll get into that next episode as well. But Antonio, dude, you've blown my mind right here at the end with this software. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you agreeing to come on here. We got a lot more to talk about, and we'll cover that, next time we get together. I know you got to go, so I just want to thank you for hopping on, man.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate the time, Jason. Thanks for the invite.
All right, let's keep in touch, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Burning the Ships podcast. As always, we want to thank our sponsor, 608B Capital. We are a short-term lending fund, a debt fund, open for investors who are looking for a passive return. And also we offer products to our main product to fix and flippers and buy and holders, folks that are doing things like that in real estate. Also want to remind you about our referral program. Check out our website for more information on that, and we're happy to talk to you further if you're interested. Again, thank you for joining us on Burning the Ships, and do me a favor and go out and try to find someone or some way that you can add value into the world today. Think through it, zoom out, and try to find where you can add value. I think it'll help wrap up your day, wrap up your week, whatever you're working on a positive note if you constantly think that way. Where can I add value? So with that, we thank you for joining us on another episode of Burning the Ships. Have a good one.